Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for making our time. I would hand over to Mrs. Abayomi or Olarinmoye. She is from the Verraki Partners, and she'll be giving us um, a feedback on or some insights really on the headwinds facing in 2023.
Um, so I'll just go straight into this. So we'll be talking first about the global headwinds we see, and then the local headwinds we see. Um, Starting with global, um, we are aware that there's a recession that has been touted. It's very likely that this global recession will happen this year, starting from Europe. The UK is already feeling the pinch. The UK, the Russian-Ukrainian war has led to severe economic squeeze, which continues. There's been slow growth in China due to COVID. Um, Monetary policy continues to be tightened across countries. It is becoming increasingly difficult for many countries to repay their debts. We see this continuing. COVID-19 not only is here to stay, it appears that there's a resurgence and there are many more variants around now. And there's still a lot of flux around the energy market. With what has happened between Russia and Ukraine and what Russia has done with the rest of Europe, gas prices are going higher. So the energy market is likely to stay volatile. And geopolitical tensions will continue to be elevated. So we all know what's happening with China and Taiwan. We know what's happening between US and Saudi and Russia NATO conflict. So we see all of this continuing. If you ask me, which are the three that are most likely to have significant impact? I would say the energy market, the uncertainty in the energy market, and the rise in gas prices. I would also say monetary policy tightening and the issue of debt repayment and FDI into many countries in the developing world, and then global recession. I think these are the three major headwinds that we see, and we think every business ought to be planning for. On the local front, what do we see? Talent is a major issue with everyone heading out. And those who are not able to or who have chosen to stay, a lot of them still have very low motivation. Motivation levels are quite low right now. It hasn't been this low in several years. The Naira is staying weak, will continue to be weak. There's the uncertainty around elections and the challenge with spending. There's also the inflation that remains high, double-digit inflation that remains high and would stay high. The credit market is tight. Insecurity remains a challenge, and there's a lot of stress with our fiscals. Well, earning very low FX. Our FX earnings have continued to stay low because of the floods. Agric output is not as robust as it ordinarily would be. Non-oil earnings continue to decline. So it really looks like it's going to be a challenging season. I've mentioned the low agric output. So if I were also to pick the top four that give us some worries here, top four headwinds, I would say one of them is the low agric output and the impact this would have on food prices, and the fact that we see the insecurity continuing. The weak naira is not going to change, and honestly, finding the right talent in the right numbers will be a challenge for many businesses. We will have to deal with this subsidy removal issue, whether we like it or not. We're confronted with it right now. It's happening in electricity. We think it's going to happen with fuel too. So we think these are the challenges that businesses will have to grapple with in 2023. So what should be done? be aware of the risk and have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, because flux is going to be a certainty. Protect your supply chain, just like we had it last year. We still have it now. Disruptions to supply chain continues. Bottlenecks bringing in things. You import things, it takes forever to come in. Put in place a robust supply chain risk management framework. Also put in place a risk marker, put in place or a risk dashboard, and let there be somebody actively in the organization who assesses this risk on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, and reports into management meetings or executive meetings so that alternative plans may be made. Removal of subsidy, we really have no choice but to bail the cat, I think. And there are a few businesses that are exploring renewable energy. Yes, it's expensive in the medium term, but they're doing it to buffer the shocks that come from supply disruptions, and not so much because it's going to be a cheaper alternative in the short run. So that's it from us. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Abayomi. I don't know if people have questions to ask right now, or if you want to type in your questions on the chat box, that would be pretty helpful. Otherwise, we just go right into the major survey outcomes.
So for a minute, if they don't have questions, maybe I should ask one or two questions just to stimulate a bit of conversation.
Fantastic.
Are there any key issues that you've seen? Any headwind that you think we haven't captured, which keeps you awake at night, which has you worried, which you think is likely to have an impact on business, which we haven't touched upon? If there's anyone who would like to share, please just put it in the text box. Yes, please. WD, please go ahead. I think Obehi.
Yeah, good afternoon and happy new year, everyone. Yeah, thanks very much for the quick presentation. I appreciate if you share the slides. But I wanted to ask, in spite of these headwinds, which industries would you say will continue to thrive in spite of the global challenges and also the upcoming elections?
Energy will thrive. So healthcare will thrive. So energy will thrive. Healthcare will thrive. You see, we do need all the services, whether we like them or not. So energy, healthcare, financial services definitely will thrive. Nii, I don't know if you have a point of view on any additional industry that I haven't mentioned. And even FMCG, because we still have to eat, whether we like it or not. I mean, manufacturers will need to up their game when it comes to value re-engineering, making sure they give the consumers what they want without the incessant price increases every other month. But people still have to eat. It's the reality of life. So I would say yes, FMCG, financial services, following after healthcare and energy. So that's it. Is there any other question or any other addition?
Yes, this is from me. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. So that I also want to find out, how tech, ICT, and as well as the entertainment sector, because these are areas that last year appeared, pretty promising. People would say anywhere you have businesses that you don't have to go through the ports, and they seem like great opportunities. So, yeah.
So we're all aware of what's happening globally with the tech industry, and also partly locally, I would say, and that's also because there's less FDI coming in and chasing every opportunity. So the FDI that is coming in is a bit more discerning. So there are less flush funds available, and the funds they need for that step change improvements they need to take the businesses to. So yes, the tech industry will continue to move along, but it's not the boom, boom, boom of the last 2 years, I think, particularly looking at FDI coming in, global investors, and even local investors are going to get a bit more conservative, if you ask me. Entertainment will still grow. I read somewhere, was it earlier today, about the cinemas making, was it 6 or 20 billion? Please forgive me, I can't remember the exact amount. And in my mind, I was like, oh, that's small. That's small. It's not up to what a medium budget movie grosses in opening week in North America. I think the movie industry has not sufficiently scaled. There will continue to be activity, but it has not sufficiently scaled to the point where you will have a lot of investment being poured into it, especially from outside. And this may limit the growth. That's what I think. I see Umwamaka, please go ahead. I hope that that helped. Yes, Umwamaka.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, and really thanks for the wonderful presentation. So I'd actually had typed in the chat box, but I noticed that probably we're not seeing the comments. So elections outcomes is a critical one that most of us are interested in terms of what will be the likely scenarios and also what should businesses be prepared for. And I see that some
of political seer, but if I may say so, Onwamaka, every 4 years we have this cycle where there are uncertainties around the election, and there's a view whether there'll be continuity or if someone will be upstaged. And business activities kind of slow down between January and May. And right after that, we go back to business as usual. I don't see anything now that tells me that things will be different. Yes, there'll be a lull between now and May. Yes, everybody's rather passionate about this particular election. Whoever gets in, people will be unhappy, some people will be jubilating, but business will still slow down to watch what is going to happen. So January to June, you're not going to get a lot of traction when it comes to growth in the business space, regardless of who comes in or stays. That's how much I can say. Well, I'm not a political seer. I really cannot call the election. But I know that everyone is hunkering down. Every business should be hunkering down and getting in enough supplies because of the slowdown, because we don't know what's going to happen. Yes, we know there'll be some business as usual, but you don't know what's going to happen with supplies, supplies coming in and everything. So just have buffer input materials so that you can continue to produce. If you produce, and if you have services, just make sure you have a pipeline of opportunities, a pipeline of clients that you have secured, a pipeline of talent to deliver. And that's what I say.
Okay, thank you so much. If I can read Abid's question, yes. She had actually put to say, in terms of policy direction and ease of doing business for each of the political parties, what do you foresee that might play out in case among the
they're all promising the same things. They're all promising the same things. And to tell you the truth, if I were in the shoes of any of the three of them, I will do not just what I promised, but what my opponent promised if I do come into power. We know what Nigerians need. All of them are promising to remove fuel subsidy. All of them are promising to address the FX disparity, the disparity in rates. All of them are promising to increase revenue, particularly non-oil revenue. So they know the things to do. They've all been advised by their advisors about what to do. So really and truly, they're promising the same things. And that's how it should be. Really, we're at a point where you do what the citizenry needs, regardless of which party you're in. So I don't see that difference. honestly, the difference is getting more blood with each passing week, if you ask me. But then, like I keep saying, I'm not a political pundit. I really haven't studied that space as much. I guess I'm one of those who, like I said at the beginning, every 4 years we see this. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, I just
think
want
I can
to.
hand it over to you now. Yes.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to highlight Nee's comment about the three, just to underscore what you just said, that they're all saying the same thing, but that, and they are all, pro private sector, which means that whatever we're going to face will be better than whatever we face in 2022. Where my optimistic cap, but that one is more likely to be a bigger government. So let's keep our fingers crossed